What is going on, YouTube? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Season 3, Episode 13, Unfashionable Behavior. So we start off where we left off from the last episode, which was the Greek-themed dinner that the ladies are having. And Whitney is asking Heather exactly what happened to her eye, what caused her to get this black eye. Heather, of course, doesn't really want to say what happened. So I'm at that point right now where I think that whatever happened to her eye, it was not somebody punching her out of anger or her being in a fight or anything like that. Whatever happened to her eye, either she accidentally did it to herself or somebody else accidentally did it to her. But she's going to make it seem as if it's a whole lot worse than what it actually is. Like somebody, cold knocked her out or something. And I think she's doing this for attention. I am not familiar with this type of Heather because Heather to me has always been the more reasonable one. But the way she's been carrying on about this black eye, I'm just really surprised that she's taken it this far to imply that somebody did this to her out of anger or because she was in a fight or something like that. The night that she got this black eye, or the early morning that she got this black eye, she was drunk out of her mind. Her and Jen, they were drunk out of their mind. So whatever happened, I don't think it was intentional. I think that they were either fooling around or play fighting or something happened. But I think the black eye was a result of some type of accident, either on Heather's part or on someone else. And why she just can't say that, I don't know. Because if she doesn't want to talk about it, if she doesn't want to say exactly what happened, if something bad really did happen, if this was an intentional act by someone else, then she can just play it off and say, look, me and Jen got really drunk. We were fooling around. We were horse playing. And she accidentally hit me in my eye. Or something like that. If you don't want to talk about it and, you get really offended when people are asking you questions about it, then just make up some story and let's all move on from the saga of the black eye. Then Dana, she's telling Jen why she believes there's a lot of tension between the two of them. And so she says to Jen that someone told her that they know someone who's involved with Jen's case, another co-defendant who I'm thinking she's referring to Stewart, but someone told her that they know someone who's involved with Jen and her shenanigans, and this person pled guilty and then they became an informant. And so now they're spilling all the beans on what was going on with Jen's business and the things that Jen was doing to defraud people and steal their money. So Dana says, well, this is the reason why, I had to put a wall up between us, or the reason why things are really awkward between us. But Dana, nobody asked. Nobody asked because nobody cares. Jen, of all people, really doesn't care why there's tension between the two of you, because Jen is like, I don't even know who this woman is. All I know is I gave her some hair dye to try to cover up her gray hair. Other than that, I don't know this woman from a can of beans. So I don't know why Dana thought this was important to bring up at this time. And I thought it was really gutsy of Dana to bring up Jen's criminal case while it's still pending, while Jen still is unsure of her future. But then you're going to bring up, and then to talk about the case. So like to go into such detail about what you heard or what this person told you, that and whatever you're saying is making Jen look really, really bad and really guilty. I was shocked that Dana would go that far, because even though no matter how you feel about Jen, and no matter if you think how guilty you think she is, I think that it's still a little bit uncouth to want to talk about her criminal case while it's still pending, knowing damn well that she can't really say much about it. So Jen was telling her, well, who told you? Who told you? And Dana refused to say. And so why even bring it up? Jen was like, if you're not going to go all the way with your information, then why even bring it up? And that's when Dana was like, well, I'm just trying to explain to you why, there's this tension between us. And even so, let's say Dana got what she wanted. How do you expect Jen to react? I mean, how do you expect Jen to react? What do you want her to say to that? You're basically saying that someone told them that Jen really was stealing money from the elderly. And now they're telling the government. What was the point of bringing that up, Dana? Nobody cares about the tension between you and Jen. So moving on from that. Obviously, Meredith thought it was a really bad idea for Dana to say that. There was at some point where Jen had got up and left. Meredith and Heather followed her out, and the people that were left at the table were Dana, Angie K, and Whitney and Lisa, and they were talking about, how you have to be careful with the things that you bring up around Jen because she can go off at any time. Because Dana had said, I don't understand nobody else is really calling her out for what she's done, or why people are letting her just slide by with no accountability. And so that's when Lisa and Whitney were telling Dana, you have to be really careful with what you say around Jen because anything can set her off. And I'm just like, oh, and then Lisa was saying that, I believe that she's innocent until it's proven otherwise. Lisa's a fake friend to everybody. She was a fake friend to Meredith, a fake friend to Jen, just a fake friend all the way around. I don't think there's ever been a time where Lisa truly believed that Jen was innocent. I don't think so. I think that I think that Lisa has always believed that Jen was guilty, or she's always wanted to believe that Jen was guilty. Like, no matter what extenuating circumstances that could be brought up to try to clear Jen's name, I think Lisa wants to lean more towards Jen being guilty, because I think that Lisa is just shady like that. Moving on. The next thing that we have is Meredith. She's at her house with her children, and she is getting things ready for this fashion show fundraiser that she's going to be hosting for her sister's charity. Her sister has a charity that deals with mental health because Meredith's nephew, her sister's son, had a mental health crisis, and he's better now, thank God, but he had a mental health crisis, and so now the family wants to do something to bring more awareness to mental health for the sake of their nephew. So they're talking about whether or not Lisa was going to show up, and she tells her kids that she didn't want to exclude anybody, so she did extend an invitation to Lisa, but who knows if Lisa's actually going to show up. Moving on from there, next we have Heather. She goes to see Angie Harrington, and Angie asks about the black eye, and Heather says that she doesn't remember what happened. So, she flip-flops between I don't want to say and I don't remember. So she tells Angie H that she doesn't remember what happened. Angie H keeps telling her, Heather, if somebody did this to you, please don't try to protect them. Please feel like, you should be free enough to be able to name exactly who did this to you, because you can't let them get away with it. And she really tries to coax Heather into saying what happened, but Heather is absolutely mum. She's not going to say anything about it. Like I said, I think that whatever happened to her was an accident, either from herself or from someone else, but she wants to make it look like, it's a lot more nefarious than what it actually is. Heather refused to talk about it. And I think Heather kind of gets a kick out of people speculating that it's Jen, because she never really goes hard to try to clear Jen's name. When people try to speculate that it's Jen, but she just lets them believe whatever the hell she wants to believe. And if Jen did not do this, or if Jen did this by accident, and if you really are a good friend to Jen, I feel like, Heather, you should have tried to, help your friend out and try to clear her name and be like, hey, I know what it looks like and I know what you think, but Jen had nothing to do with this. But I don't know. Moving on to Whitney. So I didn't realize that Whitney and Meredith, they both have sons named Brooks. There's not much to say in this particular scene. She FaceTimes her brother, talks about her past. I think her brother was asking her, is she starting to remember any of the abuse that she endured as a child? And Whitney says she really isn't. Her daughter looks just like Justin. I think Justin's her husband's name. Oh my God, that little girl looks just like Justin. The face, the body structure, she looks just like her father. So Whitney says that she hopes that her and Heather will someday soon, hopefully they'll be able to reconnect again. Moving on to Jen. She's FaceTiming her therapist. So she tells her therapist that she feels like she has no control over her life. No, you don't. The government does. The government is controlling every aspect of your life right now. Your finances, your freedom, everything. She worries if she's messed up her kid, her youngest son. She's worried, if whatever they're going through right now, if it's somehow going to have this long lasting effect on her child. Yes, it is. It's going to have that effect on your kid, on both of your children. Even though your oldest son is almost 30, yes, it's going to have an effect on them. This is horrible for them. There's no way to sugarcoat this. There's no way to try to make it better than what it actually is. There's no way to make it a little bit more sweet than sour. This is bad, Jen. This is bad. yeah, it's going to have a very negative impact on your children unless you own up and take accountability and let your children know that sometimes people do things that at the time maybe they didn't realize was wrong or didn't realize the effect it could have on people, and the things that they do is bad, and I did a very bad thing, and I'm going to be mature and I'm going to do the right thing, and I'm going to take accountability for what I did. I know it's going to be extremely hard for us to get through this, but we will get through this because I'm taking accountability. Yeah, that's what you should do. Don't try to act like the government is this big, horrible, evil entity that's out to get their mother for no reason at all. So she tells the therapist that Sharif has expressed to her that he is extremely worried and that he doesn't want her to go away. And then she also says to her therapist that she doesn't want Sharif to be with her because he feels like, he can't leave her in her time of need. She wants Sharif to be with her because he really wants to be there for her. I think Sharif really wants to be there for Jen. I don't think he's with her because he feels like he has no other choice or that this is his duty or his obligation, but he'd rather not. No, he's with her because he wants to be with her. Sharif loves that woman, and he's with her because there's nowhere else for him to be but by her side. He loves Jen a lot. So now we're at the day of the fundraiser. Meredith confronts Dana and Angie K about how they had told Lisa the things that she had told them about Lisa's SEC filing, which Meredith thought she was telling them in confidence, even though it was on a television show. So she gets on their case about that, saying that if you were going to go tell Lisa, you should have told me first that you planned to go tell Lisa. So she really wasn't having that. And so after that, Lisa shows up in her Balenciaga pajamas. Like, what is going on here? No matter what it looks like, if it's name brand, Lisa's going to put it on. Angie K tells Lisa that Jen had reached out to Angie H and her husband Chris and told them that she wants to meet up with them and that she wants to make amends with them. So when Lisa found this out, she was really upset about it because, she does not like Angie K at all. I mean, Angie H at all. So Lisa was really upset about it. Angie K herself was upset about it because she had gone to bat for Jen against Angie H. So she was like, I stood up for Jen against Angie H. I fought really hard for her. I was standing by her side, supporting her throughout this whole mess with Shaw Exposed and all of this and that. So they feel betrayed that now Jen is reaching out to Angie H and her husband and try to make amends. It's like, okay, what do we fight for her for if she's just going to turn around and make amends with them? Well, that's just how the cookie crumbles. That's why you should only go really hard for yourself and not for nobody else. So because of that, Lisa says, well, if she lied to me about how she felt about Angie H, if all along she wanted to be friends with her and just put up this big fake show that she was mad at her, then maybe she is capable of lying about other things like her business. You see how quick she was to throw Jen under the bus, how quick she was to now lay guilt on Jen, even though Jen is guilty. But gone is the Lisa that was defending Jen, tooth and nail and saying, oh, she's innocent until she's proven guilty. That Lisa has left the building. That Lisa has left the chat. Now we have the real Lisa who is really quick to assume that Jen Shaw must be guilty because Jen Shaw wants to make amends with Angie H. That doesn't even make any sense to be like, well, she did all of these fraudulent things because now she wants to be friends with Angie H. And she deceived me into making me think that she really hated Angie H. You were just waiting for any reason, for any excuse to talk about how you believe Jen Shaw is guilty. And you're going to use this one, even though it doesn't make any sense. Lisa never believed that. She never believed that Jen was innocent. Moving on. So Jen wants to clear her debt with Angie K because Angie K threw that big lavish birthday party for Coach Shaw. She paid for everything, and she had brought it up when they went to California, how she had paid for Coach Shaw's birthday party and they never paid her back. So Jen is like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to write her this check. I'm going to clear my debt with her so she can shut up about it. And Jen says, it's easy for me to do this because it's never, I have the money. I have no problem giving her the money. And it never was about money. But since, she wants to talk about how I owed her and blah, 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 I'm going to go ahead and write her this check and we're going to be done with it. So after they have the fashion show, Coach Shaw and Jen, they pull Angie K and her husband to the side and they give them the check. And Angie K says in her confessional that she's going to be running to the bank to deposit that check before the government freezes all of Jen's financial assets. That was a really shady thing to say, a very shady thing to say, but it is what it is. Now we have Whitney. Heather comes over and once again, Whitney's asking about the black eye. And I forgot who said it. Was it Heather or Whitney? One of them had said in their confessional that if they were still friends, if they were still cool, no doubt Heather would have told Whitney what happened to her eye. But because they had a falling out, Whitney will never know. So Heather claims that she's not going to talk about her black eye to Whitney because she says there is no trust between them. She says all trust has been broken when Whitney had said she wanted a friendship break. Heather wants to make it look like that really hurt her to the core when Whitney said that. And so because Whitney wanted this friendship break, Heather's like, I'm going to give you this break. This break can last for eternity. And I just don't confide in people who want to take a break from me. And Whitney tells Heather, look, I needed a break so I can assess things. She says, I needed a break so that I can, reassess the whole situation. So now she's backpedaling. I needed a break so I can reassess the whole situation. But it wasn't like, I stopped loving you. I stopped caring for you. I stopped supporting you. During the break, I was still there for you. I still loved you. None of that changed just because we were taking a break. And so Heather was like, you know what? I kind of like this, land of friendship breaks. So let's just go ahead and stay here and let's just continue on with this break. So Heather doesn't want to give Whitney the time of day. Heather says that just because you're ready to restart our friendship, it doesn't mean that I'm ready. I'm not going to move on your time. You're not just going to snap your fingers and be like, okay, Heather, let's be back to being friends. It doesn't work like that. So you move at your own pace and you do whatever the hell you want to do over there. I'm going to move at my own pace and I'm going to do whatever I want over here. And that's where the episode ended. Heather, I don't want to talk about your black eye no more. I think you're full of it. I'm calling BS on that damn black eye. I think that you're making it seem like you think it's really mysterious and very titillating. And, you got everybody on the edge of their seat, biting their nails, trying to figure out what happened to your black eye. I've lost interest. I really don't care. Don't ever mention your black eye ever again. I don't care. Jen, I think it was a horrible idea for you to still be on this show while you have these charges pending. Absolutely horrible idea. These lawyers that you're paying tons and tons and tons of money to, they're not doing you a bit of service by allowing you to be on this show because now you have Heather who is alluding to, or the people on this show are alluding to the fact that you may have punched her in the damn eye. And I don't know how that could possibly work in your favor. So it went from bad to worse. First, it was like, oh, you're just this really, difficult person to get along with. You have a lot of attitude. You have a big mouth. You like to shout and scream at people. Now it's to the fact that you may be violent, that you may have attacked your castmate. Do you see why it was not a good idea for you to be on this show? Absolutely horrible idea for you to be on this particular season. Anyway, it is what it is. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video. If you like this content, go ahead and subscribe, and I will definitely talk to you later. Bye.